Hello there, and welcome back to another one of my reviews. It has been a while, and that is technically my fault, but partly not, because I've been busy over the past 2-3 weeks, however long the gap has been. I still plan to do this scheduling thing. It's just that I may be busy some days, and then there are the days where I'll be too busy to even do anything else apart from work. So, yeah. Anyway, my last video was the They Shall Not Grow Old, and today's video is going back to what the previous one was about, which is Marvel, because today's one is Avengers Endgame, and I saw Avengers Endgame on its release date on the 25th of April 2019, as it says right there, and it was opening day, and I remember being so excited that I wasn't concentrating at school really, because I didn't want anybody to spoil the drama and stuff, because if somebody spoiled it, and because some people saw it at midnight, I didn't want to know, which makes sense, I think. So yeah, the length, the overall opinion for me for this film, I thought it was much better. It's the best Marvel movie, like so far, like including Far From Home, which is after this. I think this is my favorite Marvel film. For a while, it was my favorite film overall, and then things changed, obviously, because other movies came out. But for now, that was my favorite film, because of how, just of what they got right. They finished off the story well. This 23 arc movie tie-in. They got it all wrapped up. They every character had a point. Everything they talked about had a point. The script was amazing for this film, and the directing. Yeah. People say, Infinity War is better than Endgame. I disagree. Yes, this was longer, at 3 hours and 2 minutes, but I think it needed that, because it needed enough time to showcase each act succinctly. So you had, so the plot mainly, it starts in, no, the opening scene is a cut scene from Infinity War. They were going to have this scene in Infinity War, but they thought it was going to be the after credit scene, but they thought they didn't really want it there. So Hawkeye is having having a picnic with his family, and his family, it's like a normal conversation. He looks away one minute, he looks back, and his daughter's gone, and his daughter's supposed to be suggested to be Kate Bishop, because she's starting to get good at archery and stuff, and there is some suggestions. And then he turns around, he turns towards the rest of his family, and they're all gone as well, and they've been snapped by the blip. And that's how the film starts. And then it cuts to Tony and Nebula in a room together, and on the spaceship after Infinity War. They have to get off the planet back to Earth. Tony's dying, he's very close to death, and Nebula's keeping him company and trying to keep him alive. And then it cuts to Earth, and you see how everybody is dealing with it. So you have Cap and stuff, and then you see all the problems that's Thor is feeling a bit down because he wasn't able to kill him. Captain America is trying to find Captain America and Black Widow and War Machine and all these people. They're all trying to find Tony, but they're also trying to find Thanos as well, because Thanos disappeared after he snapped. And also they're trying to deal with all the problems that the snap caused. And then Iron Man's close to death, he's dying on the thing, he does this really heartfelt message to Pepper. And then all of a sudden, Captain Marvel shows up. And then flies her off to, and flies them back to Earth. And like Tony argues with Captain America, saying that because this is the first time they've met since Civil War, and he argues with them, saying that, "Oh, where were you when all this happened?" And and then Iron Man's really weak. He's really thin. He collapses, and then Captain Marvel's like, "Right, I'm gonna go kill Thanos," and then the others are like, "No, we do this as a team." Thor tries to intimidate Captain Marvel, but then ends up liking her. Then they find Thanos on the planet, so they go to find him because they felt there was like the stones. They'd heard the snap again, or like there was a disturbance in the universe again, and so they flew to that planet. And it turns out that Thanos snapped the stones to destroy the stones. And so Thanos is talking about, because he sees Nebula again. He's like, "Oh, my daughter, you would never lie to me, never betray me, would you?" And then Thor chops off Thanos' head, and they all leave. And then it cuts to 5 years later. And 5 years later, there's no difference in everything. Like nothing's changed, apart from like people are more scared. And then Ant-Man turns up after the events of his film. And what happens is that Ant-Man meets up with Captain America and Black Widow and is like, "We need to get the stones back," and says we should time travel to get the stones, go to specific points in time to get the stones. And so so they try and recruit like all the people that they needed to before. So they go to Hulk, who is now Professor Hulk because he's now part Mark Ruffalo and part proper Hulk. And then and then they go to Iron Man, who says no because he has a new daughter and he wants to deal with her more than look after. And he finds the idea of time travel stupid, but he's secretly working on a time traveling device. They go to, and then they like Iron Man eventually agrees, and then he starts to work again, and he creates the time machine, and so they test it with Ant-Man, and he comes back as a child, and he comes back as an adult due to paradoxes, and then you have and then they go to find Hawkeye, who's now turned into Ronin because he's seeking revenge, and the best way he can, and then they go to find Thor, who's put on a lot of weight. He kind of is like the dude from The Big Lebowski, which is what Tony calls him when he meets him again. And they try and persuade him to join them. And so Thor eventually agrees. And then it's basically, after that, it turns into just a big time travel heist where they go back to 2012, 2014, and 2013 and certain points in time to get the stone. So they go back to the first Avengers film to get the Tesseract. They go back to the original planet at the start of Guardians of the Galaxy to get the Purple Stone. They go to Asgard to get the Red Stone. They go to, where do they go? Oh, they go to, what's the other place that they go to? There's Avengers. Oh, in 2012, Hulk goes to visit the Chosen One to try and get the Eye of Agamotto. And then Hawkeye and Black Widow go off to get the Orange Stone. And like a series of events happens. Like Tony ends up meeting his dad because they couldn't get the Blue Stone back properly because Loki stole it, meaning leading to this new TV series that's happening. I want to watch it. Disney, release it on DVD at some point. I will be a happy man / boy. I'm not sure how this works. So yeah, after that, Tony meets his dad again, has a conversation with him, heart to heart, gets the Tesseract. They get Loki's scepter, I believe, to get the Mind Stone. And Thor has a heart to heart with his mother, because obviously his mother died, and so you have that thing. that the Chosen One gets angry at Hulk because Hulk says, "Oh, Doctor Strange gave it," and it's basically she's setting up the end of the film technically, because she says, "Oh, you can't take the stones forever. You'll have to put them back." And the Chosen One trusts Hulk with that, because if Doctor Strange gave the stone to Thanos, that means he must have a reason for it, which links back to his "there's only one way that you win this." And then there's the Soul Stone bit, which is where one of them they must sacrifice somebody that they love. So because Black Widow and Hawkeye love each other, they fight, and they both try and kill themselves so the other can get the stone in it. And at the end, it turns out Black Widow sacrifices herself so that Hawkeye can get the stones. They get all the stones together. Tony creates a new glove. Hulk snaps his fingers. Everything's come back to life, but it turns out that Nebula is actually old Nebula, who's evil, and goes back and then brings Thanos' ship back. Thanos destroys the Avengers Academy, or whatever it's called, the big building thing, and then there's like just the big battle where like Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man fight Thanos. Captain America holds Mjolnir. Everyone was happy, and then you have the bit with Thanos and then Thanos and Captain America have a little fight. Captain America stands up, really weak, wanders, and then there's the "on your left." He turns to his left. Portals start opening. Everyone flies out. So you have like Black Panther, R.I.P. Spider-Man, the Guardians, Howard the Duck. He's in the background somewhere. And then like it's just everyone appears. Korg, and it's a really emotional moment because it's like they come back, and then because Thanos had like his big army, and then there's like the big fight. Captain America finally gets to say "Avengers assemble." They all start running. They're fighting for a bit. They're trying to get the stones to the time travel machine so they can go back in time and put the stones back. And then eventually, like there's this big ship that's like firing down on the ground, and then they start pointing upwards, and Captain Marvel turns up and destroys everything. And I don't like Captain Marvel in this film because she seems a bit too overpowered, and it's not her character from the Captain Marvel, the film. And yeah, and then Thanos eventually destroys the time travel van, and they get a bit confused. So Tony thinks, actually, I'm going to go snap. Thanos goes to do it. He looks at his hands. There aren't any there. Iron Man stands there, really emotional, and goes, "I am Iron Man," and then snaps his fingers. And then all of Thanos' men start to disappear. Thanos sits down, sad and content in his eyes, and then he just fades away. Then Tony dies. Iron Man dies. It's really sad. They cut the scene out where everyone kneels to him, which I found surprising. And